Okay, we are live.
Do we dare to dream? Do we dare?
I sure hope so.
All right, third time's a charm. So we're going to try this Walt's Vault thing again for you guys. So we're going to give you a couple minutes to figure out that we're up and running again. And let's all cross our fingers that we do not crash again. That would have been the third time, right? If it happens again.
And it's a shame if you weren't in the first stream because we had very brilliant banter going on.
Oh, we were bantering. We were firing on all cylinders, baby.
I'm going to keep a close eye on this stream feed right now to make sure that everything's in working order.
Now there's distrust, right?
There is.
We have distrust for the internet. Okay, so should we give a brief explanation what Walt's Vault is?
We should. There might be some new vaulters here.
We have some new vaulters in here. So Walt's Vault is an hour or so where we talk about Uncle Walt's vision of Disneyland, mostly Disneyland, but we'll probably talk about other Disney stuff as well, the cartoons and the the studio and all the other good things. And actually Star Wars is now, considered Disney, and Marvel is as well. So there's a lot to the whole, Disney thing, the Disney connection. So we thought this would be all encompassing. We could talk about many different things. A lot of geek things come out of Disney, not just the cartoons, but now Marvel and Star Wars as well. So I think this will be a fun show. But we are going to focus today on the amusement park. And one of the more interesting aspects of the amusement park is there's a new land called Star Wars Land, and it's Galaxy's Edge. So these are aerial footage. They're seeing this, right?
Yeah, everything looks smooth. Jason Pridle says, "We're back. Thanks for coming back, Jason."
Yes, thank you so much. Is it good? Let's take a moment and get some feedback. Can you see things?
Yeah, let us know. Your feedback is very valued, especially when things aren't working. And like Art said, as a giant garbage truck drives by our now high-quality mic. Like Art said, we're mostly going to focus on theme park stuff. Art has a lot of knowledge about it. I feel like I'm learning a lot about it. And being born and raised in SoCal as we are, I think we have kind of an interesting perspective on it for somebody who's interested in these things.
Yeah. I think you end up kind of... I think either you learn to hate it, or you just really start loving it. And since I was an early kid, I was always really into cartoons and adventure stuff. So the neat thing about the Disney park, we shouldn't move forward that fast. We should leave it on some of that. Let people linger on it.
Yeah, this is well, I don't want to spoil it.
This is before, yeah. So we'll get into the explanation as we go with this, but yeah, so we just learned to really, well, I didn't learn, I always loved it, but Taylor's kind of coming around to it. You always liked the cartoons though, right? The Disney cartoons and things.
Yeah, I think I was more interested in the animation aspects and stuff, but it's kind of funny. The theme park has its own lore and its own backstories and history that I think are equally as interesting as any of the animation studio stuff, and it's kind of crazy how much they intersect. And what we've been kind of talking about is we were talking earlier about how this is conversations that we always had in the studio before we were doing the whole YouTube thing, and now we're just kind of doing it live.
Yeah, this is an extension of Hack Shack Studios conversations that Taylor and I would have in the past while we were working at DC Comics. So it's just fun stuff. And I don't know, I just want to share some of this with you guys because I think this is nothing short of monumental. If you guys are a Star Wars fan or a Disney fan, this is 14 acres out of 85 acres of Disneyland that is dedicated to Star Wars, just Star Wars. And I don't know, when the first movie came out, I was probably around 13, 14, 15. I was like the prime age for it, and it changed my life. And if I could have had access to this park at that age, I would have just flipped my lid. So even as an adult all these years later, I still feel like this is an amazing place that I want to be. So you want to start sharing some of the video and then we can talk over it? All this footage, by the way, you guys, is borrowed from Fresh Bake, our friends at Fresh Bake, and he puts on like great videos And he always says at the end of the video, "Fresh Bake." So if not right now, but after this video, go check out Fresh Bake's videos. And there's a lot more insightful stuff on Galaxy's Edge and different attractions at Disney as well.
Yeah, he's very up to date, and he's provided very up to date footage of the place. So we're just gonna give our commentary on it and take a look at this with you. James says the stream is stable so far. Good.
So far.
This is not our fault.
Yes. We have a great show in store for you guys, as long as YouTube doesn't screw it up.
And this is, of course, Disneyland, not Disney World, for anybody that's wondering.
But okay, this is funny because Taylor kept saying that Galaxy's Edge looks really big, and I was like, it's not that big. And then I did do a little research, and this 14 acres is big by the 85 acre, amusement park itself. So 14 acres dedicated to one land is a lot, and I believe it's probably bigger than most of the lands that Disney has right now, like Frontierland and Fantasyland and stuff like this. So let's go back for a minute. Maybe we can pause it. I can show, because I do have some. Where does it get when it gets a little closer? Let's play it till it gets a little closer, and then we can freeze it.
I think it jumps over. We do have some zoom
Does it go
footage.
from that? Okay.
Oh, you know what? Here we go.
Oh, it's after that. Okay.
Let's look into this, because they have the concept art, and then they kind of show you.
Yeah, so this is the concept art that's on display there. So that's an X-wing, and then that right where the arrow is, that's where the exit of the attraction is. Okay, yeah, this is where we need to freeze. Okay, so all along the bottom. Okay, the bottom right corner is where you enter into it from Critter Country. So you come under the train trestle, and that's how you enter into Galaxy's Edge. So all along the bottom, that path on the right-hand side is the main pathway.
Right here.
Yes. And so then off to the side, that little meandering path, that's the queue to the attraction. And I believe this is the Dark Ride attraction entrance, which is Rise of the Resistance. So I think that's the queue line for that.
We just got a super chat.
Ooh, thank you.
You don't know what we've been through trying to set this stream up. Ray Thulu sent us a super chat for $2. Thank you. He says they need a big Sarlacc pit to jump into.
Oh, yeah, I feel like a Sarlacc pit I would jump into it right now. But you guys, I hope you're as excited about this as, look, there's an X-Wing fighter right there. And where that green, I don't know what they call those things, but that mechanical thing there. I think that's where the other speeder will be, the other vehicle. And that boxy, it will probably be restrooms right off to the right bottom of that. I think that's going to be restrooms. But anyways, so that's that section. And just above it on the left-hand side corner, let's see if it'll pan over, is the exit to the, yeah, there you go, pause it.
There we go.
Yeah, that little circular building there, that's where the exit of the Dark Ride. And I do believe this is the Dark Ride Rise of the Resistance section here.
Yeah, I believe it is. I can't remember if they zoom out after this. There's some really good footage. I don't know where he got this from. This might be a satellite image, maybe?
Yeah, somebody brought it in. Okay, there's the path. Keep going and see if it goes a little further over.
Okay, I don't know if it does, but
yeah, turn it back and see. Can we slow it down, maybe?
Let's see here. Keep going back too far.
No, I don't mean go... Yeah, pause it. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so it freezes right there? He stays on there?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So what we were looking at was right here, right?
Yeah, but I thought he backed up a little further to show where that Critter Country entrance is. So let's just keep playing the video. We can talk about it.
This thing still looks massive to me.
It is massive, and once we get to the other side, I think they have room for expansion, but we'll get to that once. Let's just play the video and see where it goes. I only watched this video once. Is it playing?
It's playing.
Okay.
So I think he speaks over this, but this, oh, there we go.
Okay, so here's what it looked like a few short months ago. So this is before the Millennium Falcon went in and a lot of the other buildings. But those two big buildings on the back towards the top, those are the actual show buildings. So the one off the right, I think, is the simulator ride, which is the the Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run. That's the one on the right side, the very top one. And then the left one, the lower one, is the dark ride.
So is this...
That's Frontierland where the water is? Yeah. And so this Neandering, that's the train track. So it's all built on the other side of the train track.
Okay, so this is the train track, and this is Tom Sawyer's... Well, I guess where Tom Sawyer's Island used to be.
Yeah, I think it's called Pirate Isle or something like that now.
And that's the boat.
Yeah, that's the steamboat. Yeah, so is this playing now?
Yeah, it's playing.
Yeah, we'll just keep it playing, because if it's on slow, then we can talk over it.
James says, it's a 14-acre maze. I'm not healthy enough to walk through that thing.
Yeah, but, oh my gosh, just to be in that environment... So, yeah, so there's the X-Wing again. By the restrooms, there's going to be the other ship. And where the arrow is, that's going to be the queue. The queue line is going to start.
Oh,
it looks big from here, but it probably isn't that big, I'm hoping. And and usually Disney has great stuff in the queue. You know what I mean? So there's entertaining things along the line.
It would be really cool if they did have something. Earlier we were talking about how cool the line queue used to be for Indiana Jones. If they had stuff on that level, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, because remember there was one where you step on one of the bricks or the rocks, and it depresses into the ground, and then it triggers like a not an earthquake, but it triggers the roof to start falling in on you. Do you remember that in the queue?
I remember it. I feel like I didn't get to experience it for very long before it was removed.
Yeah, because people panicked. But when you step on that rock, it actually depresses into the ground, and then it triggers the ceiling to start coming in on itself. And there's like bamboo supports, and the bamboo supports are made out of rubber, obviously. So they start bending to the force of the ceiling. So I guess they thought in time it was too much for people, like they would panic while they were in the line, and so they took it out. But my gosh, that was pretty awesome, to keep you entertained while you're waiting in line. Now the queue actually moves pretty fast for Indiana Jones because the demand isn't what it was. So I imagine these queues, the Star Wars queues, will probably change as time goes, when people aren't as interested in it. So they'll probably build a whole attraction where the queue used to be.
Because they've been really trying to sell this whole land. If you guys haven't been following or you haven't been watching the other Walt's Vault, they've been really kind of leading with it. This is going to be some kind of immersive experience, I guess akin to Pandora that they have at Disney World. So I'm hoping they have more stuff like that.
Oh yeah, maybe we could use this opportunity to talk about let's get through the video first. We have so much to share to you guys. Yeah, let's move forward because we've seen this is the model, so this is more of a lower street level version of it. Yeah, let's
and they're gonna make us sit at
we can't go.
Don't forget President's
Day, the sale. You can get for $1,250. You can get a box with wheels on it. Okay, so there's the exit. We already went. Let's see if we can get past this because there's a lot more to this park than meets the eye.
Okay.
Okay, so here's another view from a different angle.
Look at how wide the streets are.
Yeah. So on the top there, that's the train. Oh, did I tell you? Christmas time, we had two of the main engineers, not engineers that drive the train, that actually repair the train. They came over for Christmas. I have a friend, Sam Houston, who's an engineer at Disney, and so he works on the trains with those two guys, and they came over for a Christmas celebration, and they told, oh, here's a different view. So the two in the back, those are the show buildings.
These two. Yeah, so
the one on the top is the simulator, and the one on the bottom is the dark ride. And so, well, anyways, they came by, and all I did was talk to them about Disney trivia. And get this, Taylor, they invited me and a friend and my family to ride the train. But there's a caboose area that's just designated for heads of state,
oh my gosh,
and celebrities and stuff like that. And it's the car, but it's all deluxe and everything. And so we get to ride in this. So where the arrow was, you guys, this is like the mercantile or the
bazaar.
The bazaar area. So, yeah, we have some footage or some photos of the costumes and stuff that we'll share with you. So everybody, like Taylor said, this is going to be fully immersive, but everybody that works there are going to be in Star Wars gear. So they're all going to be dressed like Star Wars, specific characters, I guess, for the park. And right where that arrow is, that's where the open air bazaar is that we just saw some of the footage for.
Man, that's going to be cool. We got to get those Imagineers on the show at some point. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, they said they would come on. So, Sam and those guys. So here's the model again. So, is the arrow where the open air? No, I think that's...
I'm confused about what angle this is from.
Yeah, pause it. This right here, this little chrome over on the left-hand side
right
towards the top, that's the exit of the dark ride. So where we were looking at it first, where the X-Wing fighter and everything, that's on the top left side over here.
Okay, so we basically reversed.
Yeah, so we're looking back at it. So this is kind of from the river point of view, looking back at the mountains. So where all those mountains are, those hide the dark ride.
Here.
So the dark ride and the simulator ride are back there in the mountains. So the mountains kind of hide the show buildings.
Let me see. Jason Pertl, sorry I keep mispronouncing your last name, says, due to the crowd size, I'm guessing the Star Wars line queue will go all the way back towards the Indiana Jones ride.
Dude, stay tuned, man. We're going to cover all this in detail. Yeah, I'm trying to stay focused because I just want to jump to everything.
There's a lot.
Because we have so much to talk about. But look at this. This is still the model, but look at the scale. So these little cutouts are the people. So the scale is pretty darn big. And so you can see that one ship on the rooftop from the train. There's like a shuttle that's parked on one of the rooftops.
Oh, that's right.
Let's see. It's pretty cool. I think on one of the Walt's Faults we showed them craning in that ship, right?
Yeah, that's right. There was footage of it being craned in pieces, and we were talking about how the pieces are obviously like finished somewhere in shop before they put everything together.
Yeah, they have Imagineer like warehouses and studios. And if you drive along Catella, Taylor, some of those bigger buildings, those are the Imagineer studios.
My mom used to tell me that's where they lived.
Well, I don't know, but well, you know what? If they work as much as we do on black and white and these creator own, they may never leave. Because I remember those Pixar guys talking about like the early days. They just slept at the studio. I've had a couple nights like that at the old Hack Shack studios. But yeah, this is. Oh, you know what? Let's get into this. Okay, let's pause it. Okay, up the upper left corner
over here.
Yeah, where that like makeshift tent thing is. The park, the Galaxy's Edge actually ends right at this rock spire here. So that's where it ends. So they have this part right here, Taylor, to build still, where this wall is, that retaining wall is back there. And guess what's on the top side over by the wall, like the upper left? We'll see if it pans over later, but up there, that's where Toontown is. And guess what? I speculate that in time, we might be demoing Toontown if Star Wars is as big a hit as it should be. And let's just demo that place. I know it's for younger kids and all, but let's just demo that and make, Galaxy's Edge even bigger.
They had their chance.
Yeah, they've had their chance.
Every time I've been there in current time, and you've gone there more often
I'm sorry,
than me.
Can you pause it real quick?
Yes.
Keep going.
I was saying, you're going to talk more trash about Toontown?
No, you can.
I was just going to say, every time I've been there in current time, and you've been there more currently than me, Toontown has been completely dead. So I don't even think little kids are even interested in it anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's where you can see those rocks. See them? They're kind of on these structures, and they look really weird just placed randomly on the rooftops. But when you're on ground level, they all look like they connect into one big rock shape, like it's a mountain. So it's pretty amazing how they figured this out, like that each one of those little pieces represents part of the overall mountain. And when you look at it from ground level, it all looks like, one solid piece of rock.
Let us know in the comments where you guys chime in if you'd rather seen Toontown demolished or not. Because D Geek Art says, I get the demolish of Toontown. It's just a shame that it's the easiest way to meet Mickey. It is.
Actually, it is. Yeah, you know what?
But kids might rather
Sadly.
meet Darth Vader now.
I don't know. I guess only time will tell. So if Star Wars stays relevant for a long period of time, you know, maybe they will. But the thing is, this is the big dilemma for me. And where do you guys chime in the chat? And Taylor, this is a little aside, but there's a little thing called, you know, the Star Wars in Tomorrowland. The what is the flight simulator? I'm blanking on
Star Tours.
Star Tours. Yes, thank you. What the heck? Why is that still over there?
What are they going to? What will you know? That's a good question. Like, what is going to happen to Star Tours now that Star Wars Land is there? Is that where you're going to take your sad kid when you can't get into Star Wars Land?
As like an aside, like, well, you know, we can't get into Galaxy's Edge, but we already have this other one over here.
A bunch of crying kids in Star Tours.
And you know what? Okay, this is another. I saw the thing about those flight simulators that they were putting in, Taylor. Those things they're solid units they bought from the military. So those simulators,
That's cool.
I think there's 3 of them, or I want to say maybe they said there were 5. There's either 3 or 5 of those flight simulators. They had to tear the roof off of that building, and they brought those in because they're solid
from the top,
pieces.
right?
Yeah, they're solid. They're fully enclosed kind of entities. So they flew those in from the top down. So even if they wanted to move them over here,
they couldn't.
I don't think it'd be that easy.
They had to rip the top off, probably, and somehow move it over.
Oh yeah, they would have to rip the top off big time. Yeah, because either that or you'd have to demo the whole building.
It'd probably just be easier for them to
close it down and just gut it.
Yeah, and turn it into something else, maybe.
Yeah, because at that point, it would probably be easier just to dismantle it than to try to move it intact.
Comic Book Bob brought up one of my favorite videos. Said the best video from Disney I saw was the little girl who knelt to Vader when he told her to come to the dark side.
Oh,
that was so cute.
She was like, "Okay, I kneel before you, Dark Lord." Okay, let's keep the video because we have more that we want to talk about. But this is absolutely amazing footage to me. Look at all this gear on this rooftop.
I'm so curious because since we've been following this since this land was basically just a dirt lot, like I really want to be there and see how all these illusions work because now we kind of know. Like some people might be spoiled by it because now they know how the illusions are put together. Like we know how this mountain isn't really there and stuff. But I want to see how successful it is because it's been pretty amazing so far how they've done all of this.
And we've been following along. We haven't made as many videos as maybe we should have. But personally, we've been following this story for a while now.
We've been talking about this since well before we started the whole YouTube thing, which is weird to think it wasn't that long ago.
No, it was not. And it's funny because I talked to my friend Sam, and I'm always like, so, Star Wars Land. He's like, you know what? I don't know anything more than you do.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay. All right, you signed some kind of legal, to silence you that you would not talk to anybody.
I do have one of my mom's friends. I remember. I wonder if.
Okay, so that I'm sorry, the arrow right there. That's the open air bazaar.
This is the bazaar here.
Yeah.
One of my mom's friends, her son worked on that Avatar land. And I remember I didn't believe her because at the time she was like, yeah, he's working on Avatar Land. I'm like, why would there be Avatar Land at Disneyland? It turned out to be true. We should see if we can get him on the show.
We should. And you know what else? It's funny because you said Avatar Land because this was called Star Wars Land. And I was like, before they said Galaxy's Edge, I was like, that's the worst name ever. Like, even a Star Wars fan is going to be like, Star Wars Land?
Yeah, that's weird.
So then, I think the nickname is now just Star Wars Land, but they call it Galaxy's Edge.
There's a name of the planet, and I cannot remember. If anybody in the chat remembers the name of the fictional planet it's set on, let us know. But I know that they also have, like, a planet name you're supposed to be on when you're in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. I think those arrows over there on the top, those top right over there, I think that's the other exit. So I think that exits out to where the arrow is now. That's to Frontierland. So remember where the that little barbecue place was? There's the Millennium Falcon. The arrow right there, that's on the Millennium Falcon. So the other area, there it is.
Oh, there we go.
Was where that barbecue, that open air barbecue place was.
With the goats.
Oh, here we are, President's Day. $189, you guys. You guys can get this car.
Hyundai, we're welcome. We're open for
for your money.
Yeah, if you want to, you know, advertise through us.
Yes. We'll take your blood money. Your stinking blood money. So that's actually Galaxy's Edge right there. So the top part is the edge.
The literal Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, so that's where we got to tear down and go right into Toontown.
Aw, it's going to be so sad seeing them just like demolish right through Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. So this should be the view from the ground level, looking at the Millennium Falcon. I think that arrow right there is probably the entrance to the flight simulator ride.
The name of the planet is Batu.
Batu! I almost said it. I always think of, isn't that the carrier? Oh, there's the ship, the carrier.
I was going to say Bato.
Yeah, Bato from, is it Ghost in Shell? No, that's Appleseed, right?
No, wait. No, Bato's from Ghost in Shell. He's the guy with the cyber eyes.
Oh, yeah. What's the guy from Ghost in Shell?
Because, no, the one from Appleseed, I don't remember his name, but I remember Bato from Ghost in the Shell because those stupid Tachikomas always go, Mr. Bato.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Mr. Bato. So there's the entrance to the Smuggler's Run.
Black Spire Outpost on planet Batu, says DG Guard.
Yeah. So from what I heard, too, that there's going to be... I think they're just going to intermingle. So you're going to have, what are they called now? The villains, they're called...
The First Order.
The First Order are going to be present there, and the Rebels. So I think it's going to be an equal kind of, you know, you'll have the Rebels, and then you're going to have, like, the Resistance there as well.
Because at the beginning, they were really...
It's the Resistance. They're the good guys now,
The Resistance is the good guys,
okay,
and then the First Order is the bad guys.
Yeah, so I meant the First Order.
But at the beginning, there was a lot of news, and I think even we kind of talked about it, that the park was going to be, or this part of the park, rather, was going to be split, like, equally into Resistance and the First Order. But it doesn't really seem like it now.
There's the X. You can see it fully on right there.
Oh, here we go.
See, right, it's there. On the right-hand side. But this rock right here, that's going back across the train track.
So you go underneath?
Back into Frontierland.
Pretty cool.
And it's right next to Frontier. It's like that border right between Frontierland and Fantasyland. So this is that open-air amphitheater where they used to have that Beauty and the Beast. And right on the left side, that's Toontown.
You can see, wow, you're really close to it.
Yeah, it's really close.
So if you go to Toontown, is there any vantage point at all where you can possibly see into this? Because, like, I didn't think of Toontown as the place to go to see this, but now it seems like you'd get a good shot.
Yeah, I didn't last time we went either. I didn't think about it. But Fresh Bake, he actually did a video from there, and it was pretty cool. We live right up there in those mountains, you guys. Right past that one mountain range is where the house is.
Yep. Thanks, Fresh Bake. This is good footage.
Fresh Bake, there's my house. Boom.
Let's see. Render Contender says...
Because you can see it right there. That's Toontown.
Wow, it is really, really close.
Yeah.
Render Contender says, I'm in SoCal, and I'm excited to go, but equally afraid of the long lines and huge crowds. Do you think a lot of locals will be waiting until after the initial grand opening?
Yes. That's a good insight. Don't move it yet, because I want to talk about the entrance there, back to the park.
Right
But
there.
yeah, what are your plans, Taylor?
I don't know. It's so hard because we were both really hyped, and I know we both wanted to go, but it seems so impossible at this particular point in time because I already know people who aren't from California. Like, I don't know if I used to be in like the Star Wars like Mando Mercs section over here, and a lot of people from that have been contacting me lately, wanting to come to California, and like, can I stay with you? Like, they already have like the dates planned, and it's like all people from out of state. And I don't know if I want to compete with that because of the ticket prices. Unless they somehow sell something to make it more accessible. I don't know. Or what are you thinking?
For me, it's one, as a local here, I never go to the park in the summertime. One, the crowds are the worst, and it's hot. So I never go anymore in the summertime. So this opens up this summer. So there is no way I'm going to go in the summertime. Because one, the crowds, and then two, the heat. So for me, I think that
was so Freudian.
My strategy is going to be to wait and maybe go in the off months. But I'm gonna wait and see what the reports are like, if the crowds are astronomical, because also what they're doing in the park is they are taking out planters. They are redoing queues to try to get people off of the main pathways so they can clear paths. So the rest of the park is actually adjusting to get people through the park easier with less congestion. So Disney is definitely ramping up for some serious crowds because of this park. And I don't know, it makes me a little nervous. So just as a basic rule, my family and I, we usually don't go at peak hours or times of the year. The only exception we make is Christmas time, and we'll usually go real early in the Christmas months, or at the beginning of the month before the crowds get crazy, because the closer you get to Christmas time, the more the crowds get there.
Yeah.
But we like all the decorations and everything, because if you guys don't know, Disney goes crazy at Christmas time.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it goes absolutely bonkers. And then they have the Haunted Mansion, Nightmare Before Christmas edition, which is very cool. And they set that up in October, so for the Halloween months. Or Halloween month, I should say. So, yeah, and before I forget, where that rock kind of enclosure, it looks like a bridge, it actually is it's on the right-hand side there, kind of midway on the screen. That's the exit. So over by the Hungry Bear restaurant, which we started with, that meandering path, that's how you can get in or out. And then that little rock bridge looking thing right there, that's a way in and out. And so that should exit where that restaurant used to be, the barbecue restaurant, and it's right behind Big Thunder. So it's kind of right on the borderline of where Big Thunder ends and Fantasyland begins. So it lets you out over there. So the good thing is, unlike Toontown, where Toontown is based on a cul-de-sac, at least they designed this with a through line, like a through traffic pattern, so you can kind of enter in one point and you can exit out of another, so you don't have to backpedal. So you're not going to get people going in multiple, you're still going to get multiple directions, but they can at least exit you at one place and you can enter another, so you're not backtracking. So I think that's a pretty smart design. And one of the things when Taylor and I were talking about, I think it's an amazing design, and I didn't think about this until we talked before we aired this, is that, I know you guys, I get fired up over this, is so cool to me, is that you used to not be able to go all the way around the park this way, because the Hungry Bear restaurant and over there where, what do they call it? Critter Country?
Yeah.
That was essentially a cul-de-sac. So it ended there. So you couldn't walk all the way around the river. You know what I mean? Like you had to walk inside the river. You couldn't walk on the other side of the outer edge of the river.
Yeah, you basically got funneled into a cul-de-sac and had to backtrack.
Yeah, you would have to backtrack back through, Critter Country, and then through the Haunted Mansion, like New Orleans Square, and then you'd have to walk all the way around the front of the lake, back through Frontierland, and then there's that back path. That's where that bridge exits right there. That was like a back pathway around the back of what was it? Big Thunder Railroad into Fantasyland. So now you can go right, from that Critter Country all the way across behind that river. So it's actually, as far as traffic and getting people off that main traffic path, in the main part of the park, it's pretty smart.
Not a bad design.
Yeah, because the thing is, you want to keep people in different parts of the park so it doesn't all congest and bottleneck. So this way, I think for what they've built and the amount of people that's going to be there, I think it's a pretty smart design.
Yeah.
As smart as you're going to get with, they're based on the limitations of the land that they have and that's provided. But anyway, we have some other things to talk about. Should we get into that?
And we got a super chat from Popefire, the Starfire god. She says, mandatory Starfire super chat. You're such a scamp.
Well, you know what? The way you've been bringing these these chats and these super chats, you just might get your wish. We can be bribed, right, Taylor?
That's true, especially from Hyundai if they want to keep putting ads in video.
Ads in video. So let's see if there's anything more to this. I don't think there is, but just let it play through, and then we'll go to the next video.
Hold on, my stream I want to make sure that we're still alive.
Did we crash?
No, it looks like we're good. I was just making sure. I think my particular stream just crashed, but everybody looks like we're good. Keep us posted, you guys.
Okay, so we're back outside. So one thing that we wanted to talk about is that this is a fully immersive environment. So we have costumes and even, you guys, there's money. So you can, what do they call that? Exchange your money, like your cash, and you could probably use your credit card too, where they're going to give you some kind of Star Wars money. And I don't think it's going to be like Mickey dollars.
It looks like this.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Those are the smashed penny coins that you can get. I like those things. Yeah, Amanda has a bunch of like a collection of them. But yeah, you pay, what do you pay, like 50 cents and you get to smash a penny.
Yes.
But I don't care, it's still cool. Yeah, so that's not the currency that they give you.
No, that isn't, but it's still pretty cool.
But it's funny. Oh, there's the camera.
Oops, I hit the wrong
studio.
Thing.
Yeah.
That was an exclusive.
Yeah,
okay.
That was an exclusive behind the scenes shot of the studio. So yeah, so you guys are going to get your own Star Wars money. And then let's find the costumes.
Pope Fire says, those are worthless. How dare you? You know what isn't worthless?
Taylor, how dare you? Taylor thought it would be funny, and it was. Oh, look at this, you guys.
All right.
These are the villagers, I guess.
Yeah, it's really weird. They have these little, as you guys can see, there's a little thing at the bottom that says village, but then it says village again. So I guess these are the cast members' costumes in the village.
Yeah, so these are probably going to be the merchants and the different shopkeepers, right?
And they were designed by Joe Kucharski.
Kucharski?
I'll go through some of his designs. He's got a couple shots. This one's kind of...
Parquet. That looks like very, like 80s, 90s kind of... You'd go to a snow resort, like ski resort, and you'd wear something like that.
What's really like cool, and I wish there was a closer shot at this art, is somebody was talking about it on Twitter, and I wish I knew who. But this little thing is like the, you know, the cast members have their little ID badges. Even their ID badges are like Star Wars themed, and they look really neat. But there's no close-up shot of them yet.
Yeah, you guys, this is fully immersive. So even the food, like you're not going to be able to get a cheeseburger or a hot dog. I'm sure they'll have some kind of equivalence to that. But even from what I understand, the food is going to be themed Star Wars. So the currency will be Star Wars, the food will be Star Wars, and I'm sure there's going to be some kind of like Star Wars language that's going to be spoken. And what we talked about, Taylor, remember, we're hoping that there's going to be like R2-D2 droids kind of like walking around. And there's definitely going to be First Order troopers kind of booking around. Yeah, these look like Resistance guys.
Yeah, these are the Resistance guys. You can see one of the First Order people back here. I wish they had a better shot of it. And this, you're right, it says Rise of the Resistance. So these will be the cast members' costumes for that. We just got another super chat from D Geek Art. She says, send some I almost said SJW. Send some Star Wars Galaxy's Edge exit photos via Facebook chat.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll check those out later.
Yeah. Okay, here's the
man, that'd be so cool.
God, I'm getting excited about. Look at this. This is cool.
These ones are some Smuggler's Run.
You know what? These guys look more like they're like airline guys. You know, like airline. You know how like those guys on the tarmacs, they have those like vests and stuff.
They do. They even have like the ear covers,
protectors. Yeah,
they look like the old Soviet ones on the hat.
Yeah, so maybe there's like a hangar area or something. But there's a better shot of the badges.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool. Let me see. We got Mark Flannel says, I might not mind eating porgs.
Oh my gosh, you know how they have turkey legs? What if it was a full porg on a stick? I would eat the hell out of that.
That would make me so sad.
I wouldn't care. I felt bad when they guilted like Chewbacca. Like, you know, Chewbacca, eat those things.
Dennis says, yum, one fried porg and green milk.
Oh, there's a close-up.
Let's see. So I don't know if they're going to have their things on this.
They'll probably have the
what.
name or something on that lower part, I bet.
These are so cool. Those are, I think, like, I don't know. The rebels never look as cool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As the bad guys. I don't know where these are on display.
They might be on display. It actually...
#cast member life, so it must be something more exclusive.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
I was going to say, sometimes the hotel and sometimes different areas have, like, these things on display.
Sierra Whiskey says, what is that, a galactic mailman?
They like the brown, what is the slogan?
UPS,
brown something. What is their slogan? That's what it looks like, though. Wow, that was horrible, but funny.
Man, Sierra Whiskey, you totally ruined this, but it's so true. So those are the costumes.
Okay, so we covered money. We covered the costumes. So we also did the land size. So this is a substantial size. What did you say Pixar Pier was, 15 acres?
Yeah, Pixar Pier is 15 acres.
And that looks pretty big, and that wraps the whole backside of the park. So this is 14 acres. So it's a pretty good size area.
Yeah, I think they're comparable, right? So
yeah,
that's the area you can expect. They're different shapes, so it'll be interesting to see.
Okay, so did you want to kind of ease over by talking about the Fast Pass and the height restrictions and all that?
So I'm not going to lie, you guys, this article is a little bit boring, but there is an important tidbit of information here, and this is from azcentral.com.
And use Crest when you brush your teeth, guys.
Yeah, make sure that you do that because it's important to take care of your teeth.
Because cavities, if you have cavities, you can't go into Galaxy's Edge.
So as a lot of you guys probably know, and some of you guys even asked in the comments about the whole Fast Pass situation. So as the summer debut of Disneyland's highly anticipated Star Wars Galaxy's Edge attraction approaches, the theme park giant continues to experiment with its Fast Pass system in ways to suggest it may embrace a practice that many would consider a disturbance of the Force. I don't know who wrote this, but kudos for trying to get there.
But I like it.
Will Disney start charging the general public for skip-the-line passes?
Boo!
I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm booing already. That's how I feel.
But I think pretty much everyone's against it. But in January, Disney allowed certain high-end guests at Disney World in Florida to purchase 3 Fast Passes for $50. At Disneyland Paris, guests may buy a Star Wars package, 59 euros, which is $67 in American currency, which includes Fast Passes to Hyperspace Mountain and Star Tours. So there's already packages that you can buy at some of the bigger parks to basically get assured Fast Passes. It begs the question, will Disney ask parkgoers to pay above and beyond admission for an exclusive Fast Pass to Galaxy's Edge? If so, will it lead to a rise of guest resistance, particularly among those who believe theme parks shouldn't favor those with deep pockets? So there's kind of a big debate. I know when they raised the Disneyland prices, a lot of people were saying it's not what Walt would want, and that it was always meant to be accessible to all. However, they're already kind of being tempted to sell these things, and there's already I'll just read it. Disney has resisted the temptation to sell priority access to its park, a method long embraced by competitors like Universal Studios, because Universal Studios sells front-of-the-line tickets for 60% more than a standard admission. So
I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that at all, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't either. That said, Disney has been happy to show perks on those who can afford them. Guests who stay at the official Disney World hotels have access to exclusive bonuses like making ride shows and reservations 60 days in advance, as well as the use of complimentary electronic wristbands that multitask as a hotel key.
And sometimes, like when we went to Florida, even the park here, you can get in the park an hour earlier than the general population. But that's a perk, but it's not like this, where you're actually buying preferred treatment. It's just kind of an aside. If you can afford a hotel or something, so you're already kind of not part of the general population anyway. You know what I mean? So it's a perk when you stay, at the park or on the property. So I kind of understand that better. And also, the cool thing about getting in an hour early, Taylor, is last time we did that at Disneyland here in SoCal, we just went and had breakfast.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
because there's that Carnation Corner on Main Street, and we just went there with our friend Sam Houston, and we just had breakfast, and there's just like a handful of people walking around. Like it was such a like it was just a calm, great breakfast. And, like we didn't even use it to get on the rides early or anything. We just used it as a way to, have like a really cool breakfast before anybody got into the park. So I do think that that's an okay idea. But actually selling preferred treatment, as far as fast passes and things like that, the reason I don't like that is because the fast pass idea in general, I'm not 100% down with anyway, because it does slow it down for the people that don't have a fast pass. So if there's a preferred treatment and they get in before the others, then what about all the people that have waited fairly in line? Like, are they then like victims because they didn't go get the fast pass? It's kind of idea.
It is a crappy feeling when you're waiting in the standard line and then they pause your line to let all those people go past. It does suck.
You feel like you're riffraff, right? Like, wait a minute, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't like that, and I especially don't like that you can buy like even more privileged kind of ideas. And I think that everybody should have equal opportunity to get into these areas, like these different attractions and stuff. And everybody should have to wait the same amount of time. The only thing I am in favor of is the single rider idea, because if you guys ever go to California Adventure, that Cars Land, that line is really long, but they have a single rider line. And if you get in that line, you can, if it's an hour, you can get in like 15 minutes or even quicker. And the reason that's cool is because sometimes they can't always get parties. They can't always fill up every one of those cars, right?
Yeah.
So if they always have one person available, then each one of those rider vehicles can be filled to capacity, so they can actually move people through the ride faster. So that
makes sense.
Yeah, that idea I really like. So there's never, a vacant spot on those rides.
Durakan says, let me see. I think they're going to charge you a lot. Oh, I think if they're going to charge you a lot, they should let you sleep in the Millennium Falcon. That would be very cool.
Oh, right on that bench seat where the chess game is? Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because the thing is, like, I do agree with you, and it's weird when I feel like whenever people get access to the park early, predominantly they don't rush to the rides. They just kind of enjoy the park being more empty and do have breakfast and kind of walk around leisurely. People don't usually rush to.
Yeah, I think if you're younger, like my daughter probably would. If you're like a younger person, you might, because those other things aren't as interesting. But for me, I always just like the beauty of the park. And you can't enjoy the beauty sometimes when it's wall-to-wall people, because you can't see anything. All you see is people. So yeah, I like that experience as well.
The main interesting thing of this article, and I didn't even know they had something like this, because I haven't been to the California park in forever, but I think this is in Florida specifically, is that they're already monetizing, they have after dark events. So it says, a series of after dark special events has proven popular in the California and Florida parks. Apparently they are in California. The themed evenings run from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. and are open to only those with event wristbands. So basically, instead of selling them as passes, they sell them as like special events.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention too. Did you make your point?
Let me just read the one.
Okay.
A Valentine's Day After Dark Disneyland sold out, and demand is expected to be much higher for the upcoming Marvel-themed affair. The first After Dark feature would be 2 nights. So the tickets to that are the After Dark Heroes Assemble. So they're going to have an Avengers one After Dark that actually sounds really, really cool for 2 nights.
But you get the whole park for $109?
I don't think
Or you just get that area?
I don't know. It doesn't actually say. I think it's just a specific area in the park that they have marked off for that After Dark.
Okay. Because the thing is, if you're paying $109 and you get the whole park, that's a deal.
Yeah, it is.
Because that's the normal, admission price right there.
And I assume they would sell out really quick. So I think I'm not certain, so don't quote me on this as fact.
Well, I've been at the park sometimes where they close early and then they have after hours events before. They do that with the trick or treat thing here. around Halloween.
Oh, that's right.
So what, like Disney closes around 7 or something like that, the actual park itself, and then they clear everybody out, and then they bring in the trick-or-treat crowd after that. But I'm just going to back up a little bit and use this as a way to talk about Galaxy's Edge again. I heard from an inside source, because I haven't seen any articles about this, is that there's going to be one of two things, or they might work in unison, that the Galaxy's Edge may have wristbands. And there may be time restrictions on the park. So they might be using the wristbands as a way to allocate time to different groups of people, right? So then they can crowd control. So they can say, like, if you have this wristband, this color or whatever, or when it turns to this color, you have 3 hours, or you have X amount of hours in that section. And then when it flips colors or whatever, then you probably have to vacate to make room for the next group of people to come in.
But then you play Logan's Run and try to run away with your flashing red wristband.
You become a rebel. It's like, I'm not 30 years old. Because it's at 30, right? That you, what do they call it? Reclamation or...
oh my gosh.
Rebirth. Rebirth. They reclaim you. Yeah. You get born again. We saw how that worked out.
That's a good movie. It's on Netflix right now.
You had to go dark with this.
D Geek Art says, yeah, the not so scary Disneyland is after hours. They bring back date night at Disneyland occasionally. I think it's like grad night. It's not 100% open, but it's mostly open. That's what I thought too.
Okay. But they still charge like the full day. Yeah, the full days. But you only get maybe like from 7 to midnight, right? So you get 6 or
9 a.m. It says 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
You get like 5 hours.
So
what, 6 to 9?
It's
or 9 to 9.
9 p.m. to 1 a.m. is
so it's like 4 hours.
So like you get like 4 hours. That's not that long. But...
so yeah, it's a lot of money, but you get 4 hours, and you probably don't have as many people, and it's probably themed slightly different.
Yeah.
Okay, so so there's that, and then there's this little tidbit that Taylor found.
So this is a long article by Dirk Liebe, and I guess what he gets at is that there's a growing problem in his view about Disneyland, and a problem with Galaxy's Edge on the whole, and that's that a lot of the rides, including the 2 main ones at Star Wars Land, which are, of course, the Rise of the Resistance and Millennium Falcon, they have a height requirement. So, recently they reported that one of Star Wars Galaxy's 2 new attractions, which are the biggest ones, will have a height requirement of 40, which this is basically in feet, if you're curious. It's like a little over 3.5 feet, almost 4 feet. Meaning anybody shorter than that will not be able to ride it.
So we're talking about like 4 to... Like anywhere between 1 and maybe 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, probably like a taller 5-year-old to be able to make it. While no height requirement has yet been revealed for the other attractions, odds are it will have a similar requirement, if not a larger one. In addition to the motion simulator, movement of the attraction will also require guests to use control console, which means you'll have to be tall enough to reach buttons and switches.
Do they have a height requirement on Star Tours?
Yeah, they actually turned away my little brother one time.
Oh, okay.
It made me mad.
Oh, because of that harness and the seat, they could probably fly right out of that thing.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah.
We had already been on it twice, and he met the thing, and then we went through, the guy wouldn't let us on. I think he was
But I got on it before.
Yeah. But, so I guess, I actually like this. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, there'll be less people riding the ride. Yes.
Yeah, and also, since they keep touting that particular ride as having, like, you can push all the buttons and you interact with the story, I don't want any more little kids just randomly pushing buttons constantly and messing up my ride. I want adults to do that.
I want adults to pick my adventure.
Or teens. But how do you feel about that? Because I guess his main criticism is that, like, a lot of the newer attractions are no longer aimed at really, really small kids.
Yeah, I think it's basically always been marketed as a place that you could take your kids, but to back up, your kids aren't always 5 to 10. Sometimes your kids are 10 to 20. You know what I mean? Like my daughter still loves to go and she's in her 20s. So she's still our kid, Pamela and myself's kid. So we still bring her. So it still is like a shared parent-child thing, even though they're older. So I do think that some of these attractions and rides should be aimed at maybe older kids, as well as younger. And when I mean kids, I mean teens. Because they're still your kids, if you're a parent. So,
and some people have multiple kids, and they're not all babies.
Exactly. So you have to entertain your teens and your younger children. So there still is Fantasyland, which I guarantee you, teens aren't really hanging out too much in. But little guys would really love the heck out of it. And there's still Toontown until they demo it for a bigger Galaxy's Edge. Hint, hint. But that's aimed at like little guys. So there are very specific places for kids, and they can still go to Tom Sawyer's Island and run amok, and they can get on a lot of the other attractions. So I would say I don't have a problem with this that much. The only thing, having said that, is that if a little guy is at Galaxy's Edge, there's really nothing for them other than just the visual of walking around. So that might not be cool, but I bet you they're going to have some kind of stage shows, where you can fight, like as of the Resistance, or you know what I mean, like something like that, where they'll have some kind of thing for littler guys. How do you feel about that?
I think you're right, and there's a lot of speculation that there will be. I think the stage show specifically, and also possibly a smaller, simpler ride for kids to be there, because Disneyland is pretty well balanced with those things. I actually think that there's less stuff for like a teen-oriented crowd than there is little kids at Disneyland. Because this article makes it sound like there's less stuff for little kids to do, but I think there's probably more than for a bigger kid or like a preteen or teen.
Yeah, because there's how many thrill rides? There's 3 roller coasters, right?
What, Indiana Jones, Space Mountain?
Well, roller coasters I'm talking about. So Space Mountain, there's
Big Thunder?
Big Thunder, and then there's I thought there was another one.
Splash Mountain's more.
There's the Matterhorn.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Matterhorn, when you go there, is almost predominantly teens that are squealing about having to have physical contact stuck in that stupid toboggan.
Yeah. So they have like, that's really the only thrill rides. But like you said, then there's Indiana Jones, which is not a young kids ride either, because there's a height requirement there as well. So that's kind of a thrill ride. So, and then there's Star Tours. So there are things geared up a little bit more for adults. Should we maybe talk about some of the more, or the most adult attraction ever at a Disney theme park?
And according to some people, one of the best attractions ever.
Would that be me?
Close.
Do you remember this scary ass ride?
See, I don't remember because I never actually went in on it, but you have firsthand
Wait a minute,
experience.
Not to rub it in, but you chose Graceland over Disney World, right?
Yes, once again, I had a choice when I graduated. I think I was graduating junior high, going into high school. I had the choice of going to Disney World or going to Graceland, and don't ask me why. I chose to go to Graceland.
I still think it's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, but to this day, I still haven't been to Disney World.
And now you'll never get to see Alien Encounter. So you want to give everybody a little bit, an introduction to it, and then we can talk about it.
So this is from WDW Magazine, who did a really good article on this.
There's a lot of great articles about this attraction and what it eventually became.
It was very, very beloved, which thankfully led to a lot of chronicling of the event. And this is written by Courtney Victor Russ. Okay, so Alien Encounter, the extraterrestrial sensory thriller. It started in 1995 and lasted 2003.
Disney and George Lucas.
Ooh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. George had his little fingers in there.
So it was another collaboration between them. So from 1995 to 2003, an attraction existed within the borders of the Magic Kingdom that will forever be ingrained in the minds of guests. Not for the same nostalgic reasons as other lost attractions, but because it was absolutely terrifying. And I am, of course, speaking of the extraterrestrial alien encounter. So it started in 1995, is in Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland was above about the area's newest attraction, extraterrestrial alien encounter. Excitement over this thrilling new ride was quickly met with horror, as guests could not have prepared themselves for just how much terror it would actually bring. Despite the number of warning signs posting outside. Is this the only Disney ride that had warning signs outside?
No, but it had some serious warning. Is there...
There's actually a picture.
There's a sign, right? Yeah.
This is the warning sign, and it said, "The extraterrestrial alien encounter may be too frightening for smaller children. Portions of this attraction take place in a confined space and in total darkness. Discretion is advised."
Should I just spill the beans and tell, like, the most... Well, this is not a spoiler alert. Should I just cut to the chase?
Let's explain what the basic ride is.
Oh, okay.
And then you can jump in.
I so want to share this part with you guys.
Okay, so it was a horror-themed ride. And
look at that guy's face.
As you can see here. So I guess everybody kept talking about how terrifying this was, and that was what the fuss was about. So, after getting past the many warning signs throughout the queue, we made it to the first pre-show area. We entered the Tomorrowland Interplanetary Convention Center. Guests are welcome to view a demonstration of X-Tex, an alien corporation.
It's like XS, like too much, yeah.
Okay, XS, clever. An alien corporation's latest technological innovation with a recording from its chairman. So you go in, they show you a little recording.
So what it is, it's like you're going into like the San Diego Comic-Con or like some kind of tech fair, right? And so the guys that do the Q explanation are two aliens. They're actual, like, there's video footage, so it's like a live feed, and they're kind of introduced. Oh, there it is, yeah.
Apparently...
Tara Banks is one of them, yeah. And Jeffrey Jones, is that his name?
He was one of the main ones, and they replaced him or something, right?
I think they just did away with the ride.
After the introduction, we were guided into the second pre-show area, and you meet the robot named Sir, who's voiced by Tim Curry. And
it was originally voiced by, what's the comedian that sadly died? His wife.
The one from Kiki's Delivery Service who did.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Oh my gosh, he did a lot of the Simpson voices too. I can't believe I can't remember his name. That guy was brilliant.
Yeah, he was.
But yeah, he did it before Tim Curry because I don't know if they get in. Let me see if they get into this because I don't want to step on your...
I'll just read the brief introduction.
Okay.
So basically they show a demonstration of their newest teleportation device. So you're the audience waiting to see this. So ominously explaining the process is practically painless. This test subject is an adorable alien named Skippy, who is teleported across the room, where he reappears and he is burnt to a crisp and appears to be confused and in pain.
Okay. So this is... okay, now I can chime in. Okay, so the original one was with that comedian.
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman, thank you, chat. And he did it. And so what the cue was instead of that guy getting burned to a crisp, it actually worked. So the experiment worked. So it's kind of like The Fly. You know how his whole thing was? It was kind of like Star Trek technology where you could take matter and then move it into another place. And so that's kind of what this was. And so they give a little bit of a demonstration of it. And so it was Phil Hartman doing the voice of the robot. And so in the original cue, the experiment worked perfectly. But why they did away with that and then got Tim Curry in there, who's a little bit more...
spooky.
Yeah, his voice is not as, like, kind and everything.
Because Phil Hartman sounds like a sweetheart.
Yeah, he sounds like a sweetheart. Is because when... they had all the queue had all these warnings, right? So then when parents got their kids in there, like if they got past there, it seemed like it was a fun ride, right? Because all the earmarks was like, oh, they're just like teleportation. Look at this cute little animal and everything like that.
You saw it work. You saw it seem safe.
So then they just went forward with their traction because they thought, well, if this is the worst, if this is as bad as it's going to get, then, they're just overstating the point.
And to be fair, the warning just said that it was dark and confined space. It didn't get into some of the details.
Oh my gosh, I so want to tell you guys like some of the stuff that goes on in this attraction. But anyways, so that was the original ride queue, Taylor. This article doesn't even get into that. So the reason they did the Tim Curry version is because they wanted to preface it for parents that this wasn't going to be a nice, fuzzy little adventure, right? That this could maybe go bad. So it kind of prefaces the adventure in a way that doesn't quite give it away. But you know what I mean? It does kind of telegraph maybe it might not go as well as you hope.
It doesn't seem as misleading, I guess.
Yeah. So that's kind of why they did that.
So, after the disturbing demonstration, we were then ushered into a main attraction area, which is essentially a circular amphitheater centered on a large cylindrical teleportation tube. But unlike other theaters, each seat will include a giant shoulder harness that close and lock down on all the guests. Restraints are never a good sign.
Yeah. When you got to be held back when they're scaring the crap out of you.
So, the excess chairman comes in along with 2 other blundering excess employees. Dr. Femus, played by Kathy Najimy, and Spinlock, played by Kevin Pollak, appear on screens mounted above the guests. They tell us they are coming to us live from across the galaxy.
Yeah, they're all dressed like aliens. They're like aliens.
Okay. Then they explain that one of us will be chosen to be transported to meet Clench in person. But suddenly, he changes the plan and decides that it would be better if we could all meet him, and that he would teleport us instead. Clench quickly grows tired of waiting, resulting in the moronic excess employees to get nervous and rushed as they scramble with the new plan, which ultimately pushes the teleportation signal off the course through an unknown alien planet. Next thing you know, there's a giant, angry, carnivorous alien in the tube in front of you, trying to desperately get out of the tube. The excess team goes into a chaotic state of panic as the power starts going in and out. So now children will be screaming.
It's awesome.
And giant red lights are flashing. Then suddenly we hear glass shatter, and it's clear that the alien has escaped.
No, before that, while the lights flash and you see cracks form in the tube. Yeah.
So it's implied that alien is loose now that the power is out. They send in a maintenance man to try and restore the power, but it's attacked by the alien. Once he gets there, we hear the alien's high-pitched squeaks along with sound of bones crunching in his jaw, followed by liquid being sprayed on our faces.
Okay, that's the part I wanted to say. It's absolutely awesome, you guys. I wish everyone of age could have experienced this ride because it's so bad. Shut your mouth. Like... it was taking a horror movie to a whole different level. And you know, like these, just like watching a movie, an adventure, the first time you see it is always the best. You know, like what was it, Pulp Fiction, when that guy in the backseat gets shot?
Oh my gosh,
you know, in the face, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, you didn't see that coming, right?
Because it's visceral. You don't have the knowledge it's gonna happen,
right? And so this is like, you just think it's standard Disney fare, right? You don't think that nothing like this is coming, and then when you hear the bones, and then you hear rip, and then you get sprayed because it's dark. You can't see if it's just water or you know what I mean. Like it hits you,
and apparently it's warm.
Yeah.
To the article. So you hear this guy get totally mauled. And
he gets ripped apart.
Then our seats began to shake as if the alien is scouring the crowd looking for its next victim.
Yeah, because it's also like it moves from seat to seat. So you actually, with sound, and the seats move. So it's kind of like it perches on your seat. So it moves, and then you can hear it and feel the breath on it.
A feeling of warm breath and drools trickles down your back and neck, suggesting that the alien is sitting right on top of us, ready to pounce.
Like you're next, yeah.
So let's see. Ready to pounce. Throughout our time in the dark, we heard screams of other guests, echoing heartbeats, pink noise, loud stomping, and frightening growls from the alien.
Now you know why you're locked in place. Can you imagine if they weren't? Those people would be running all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
Mass hysteria. Dogs, cats, living together.
Finally, the power is back on. The room lights up. The XX technicians manage to force the alien back into the teleportation tube, but as he tries to break free, ends up exploding just before the tube shuts. We finally are released from our hearts as the employees say goodbye and go back to looking for their missing chairman.
Oh, and by the way, I think this is the way it plays out. That guy that dies, I think that's one of the guys that lets you into the room. Like, so you see that guy.
The maintenance guy that gets killed.
Well, I think, you know how they had the showrunners, those guys that you know, ease you in and talk to you, you know, make sure you pull down your bar and everything. I think it's that guy that gets murdered.
So by now the children will be completely melting down.
So when the lights come back in or up, that guy's not there.
Aww.
He's the guy that died.
So that was Alien Encounter.
So you guys, that's pretty cool, right?
It was ultimately deemed too scary for the Magic Kingdom, and it was replaced with the kiddie attraction, Stitch's Great Escape, which is almost universally hated. And if you look that up, a lot of really interesting videos come up.
Yeah, and I think it was actually, you know what's funny is because your mom said Disney or where do you want to go? We actually took Amanda when she graduated to Disney World. So that was that's the last time we went. I just put that together right now. And so Amanda didn't get to go on, the cool scary version. She got to go into the Stitch Great Escape, and I must admit it was a pale, it was not even interesting, you guys. It was just so horrible because the whole attraction's based on out of sight, it's like
theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind. So unless you really paint up a horrific kind of tale, it's not as cool. So when he breaks out, it's more just like you kind of actually want to meet him. You know what I mean? Like, because you saw the movie, you actually want to, where is he, man? I want to hang out with this guy. Versus like, I just want to get the hell out of here and I hope he doesn't kill my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it's not going to get your adrenaline up in that same way.
Yeah, the theater of the mind does not even work. And just to back up, we should do an episode just on the alien encounter. But when it was originally built or designed, it was, what was his name? Michael Eisner?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah, because he actually had the idea that he wanted to make things a little bit more adult-themed. So he's the one that kind of spearheaded a lot of the more adult-theme ideas at Disneyland and Disney World. So this was originally, since they had the license to the Alien franchise, this was originally going to be, what do they call those? The alien itself.
The xenomorphs?
The xenomorphs. Yeah, this was going to be a xenomorph.
That would have been truly terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of did scale it back a little bit. But there are people, like, the fan base is divided on this, right, Taylor? Some people think that it was very inappropriate to be at Disneyland. And then there's other people that applaud it for its bravery to try to, make more like young adult oriented theme stuff.
Yeah, because it definitely came out during the time, like you were saying, Michael Eisner was really into appealing to teens, and it came out during that time, and he's kind of faced criticism from that at all ends, because he's done a lot. That was kind of his... We were talking about it earlier, whether he was innovative or kind of a one-trick pony, because that was kind of his answer to everything, was making things more edgy and appeal to teens.
Yeah.
So the other thing that he did...
Well, should we... are we going long? Does the chat still want to hear stuff? Because we have a little bit of an extension here, so I hope everybody's still on board.
We do. We could actually... The thing we're going to talk about, we could dedicate a whole episode to that.
Yeah.
And it might be more interesting because there is a very long history about the next thing we kind of wanted to cover.
But you know what? Let's just go over the like beats and see if we can kind of tie, because we do have how it ties into Michael Eisner and the more adult. But then maybe we can bring it back to a show of its own and not get into as much detail.
So we'll touch on this, and then if you guys want us to elaborate on our final topic, let us know in the chat. So one of the things that he did...
Okay, you guys, this stuff is actually pretty cool, though. I don't want to make it seem like this is an aside.
Yeah, this was, if you guys didn't know, there's a place called Pleasure Island, which I think now is Disney World's version of Downtown Disney.
Yeah, I think it's part of the walk.
And it was basically the spring break destination that took place at Disneyland. And he was behind it, and there was a series of, I don't know how many clubs. I had another article, but I didn't want to bring it up because it's very extensive. But it had, let me see what they had. So it had much of Dismay locals. Yeah, a lot of the locals did not like this. There were clubs like the 8 Tracks, and then the Adventurers Club, and then the Comedy Warehouse and Mannequins Dance Palace. And then there was the Rock and Roll Beach Club, and there was a couple other ones.
Wasn't there like a roller rink?
Yes. So you can see, this was, I think, Mannequins. This chick is hip.
With her pants all the way up to her underarm.
This was like, I think, the waiting room or something.
For the Adventurers Club?
Yeah, this was for the Adventurers Club, which was this kind of the center of the pier. Here's the roller rink. You can really tell how dated some of these pictures are. But they had a ton of stuff.
That girl's got a skirt.
I know. Look at, or is it?
Yeah.
Are they shorts?
How they say way past your knees?
She's so they had actually guests play there and stuff. and it was pretty cool. But the biggest part of it was the Adventurers Club.
Yeah, so it was more adult themed, and then there was this little spin-off, and I don't think they had a master plan for the Adventurers Club then, but since then it's kind of taken on a life of its own. And like Taylor said, we'll do a show, because I think this is really interesting, and it's grown from the initial idea of just like a themed nightclub eatery.
It was basically the centerpiece of the Pleasure Island, and it had a story, like, because every Disney place, has a kind of an intricate story woven about it, and this was kind of the hub of the story that came out of Pleasure Island and tied everything together.
But I think a lot of it grew out of the years, though. I don't think it was totally thought through at the inception. It's kind of grown, and I think
at the very beginning it was, I think, just a themed nightclub, like the many other nightclubs.
Yeah.
I'll read the brief description, and then the Adventurers Club was a themed nightclub in Pleasure Island at the Walt Disney World Resort. It was styled after a private club for world travelers and explorers and was set in 1937. The walls of the club were covered in artifacts and photographs from various explorations. The Adventurer Club featured animatronic puppets and a cast of adventurers who performed in shows and improvisational comedy while mingling with the club's patrons. So they kind of had like in-character interaction.
It's like a show, yeah.
Yeah, shows and conversations were often laced with innuendo, so it's kind of edgy, and the patrons might have been welcomed as guests, given fictitious names, and recognized as fellow adventurers. That's so cool. Or simply referred to as drunks.
One of the comedians there, his initials were EVS, and he had a whole slew of "Hey Mike" jokes.
Yeah, he was crazy.
The whole evening was just like, "Hey Mike, hey Mike, hey Mike," and then he was a little bit of a prop comic. So then he would he would whip out these innuendos. Sometimes it would be a hot dog, sometimes a cucumber.
He had a floral design shirt that was absolutely beautiful. It was a good time at the Adventurers Club. I'm not gonna lie, if I walked in there, and by the way, the thing is, they said they referred to them as drunks. I wonder if they served drinks.
They referred to them as drunks?
Yeah, if they would recognize you as fellow adventurers or simply refer to the guests as drunks.
Okay, yeah,
but here's the thing. I read in another article that all of the Paradise Pier places, they were like under 21. So it was geared
towards... So they carded you just to even get in that area?
Well, it was all under 21 people, they said, because it was considered like a safe place for teens. I don't know if that's true, because I think this place served drinks.
They probably had wristbands, so they could probably, like some clubs are all ages, but to drink you have to have a wristband, so maybe they did something like that.
Because, like, I don't know about you, but if I was like, well, I guess, I was going to say if I was a teen, but it seems like you have to be 21 to go there. If I arrived and they, like, gave me some fictitious adventure name, pretend they recognized me, I'd be so happy. It sounds amazing even now.
I bet you most of the people here were more adults anyways, because they probably left the kids in the room, right, with some babysitter or something, and then they went to Paradise Pier and just ripped it up.
Mark Flannel says Uncle Ethan, his, I guess Ethan's character would be, and his amazing phallic wax museum.
Ooh.
That's how he made his fortune.
His whole little Hey Mike section. Okay, so so there's a whole history that we're just gonna kind of give you a little bit of an abbreviated version of it, and then we should get into more detail. Do you want to get more into the history of this, or?
Yeah, because the thing is, there's a whole like themed story behind this. And this is the
1989 version, right?
Yeah. So it was connected basically to this thing that they called the SEA, which was the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, or SEA for short. It's an organization that Walt Disney Imagineering has been steadily incorporating into attractions around the world. When the Adventurers Club closed, props would be saved and repurposed in other places, and occasionally narrative connections between the Adventurers Club and SEA would be made in some of these locations. With the Adventurers Club being established as being a successor or branch of established decades after. So they would be at different attractions. For example, at Hong Kong Disneyland's Mystic Point, the Explorers Club restaurant collected artifacts and include several pieces from the Mask Room.
Which is probably that photo that we had there.
Yes. Lord Henry the Mystic, the lead SEA member of the land, notes in a journal excerpts that are on the wall that, noticing the mass removed made him nervous enough to move them out of the main museum of the house. With the land being slain in 1908, this marks the first chronological home for them.
Yes, and the Magic Kingdom in the Hong Kong Disney is it's called Mystic Manor, and that's their equivalent of the Haunted Mansion. And so, what is his name? Is it Lord Henry Mystic?
Yes.
He's one of the adventurers, and so it's kind of like his warehouse that the attraction takes place in. It's his manor, basically, but there's a warehouse like in the basement. And so the attraction is kind of going through his collection of mystic artifacts. And so, of course, most of them are cursed or have some kind of animation involved. So then the whole misadventure is, you follow this monkey who's his sidekick along, and there's just a series of mishaps that happen along the way because the monkey keeps triggering, these mystic artifacts. And actually, you guys should Google it after this and check it out, and we will do a show.
We'll do a whole show.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's almost cooler than our Haunted Mansion, dare I say. But it's pretty cool. So that's one of the explorers, right?
Yeah, we'll give you a look at the Adventurers Club. They have a club creed, which is: we climb the highest mountains just to get a better view. We plumb the deepest oceans because we are daring through and through. We cross the scorching deserts, martini in our hands. We ski the polar ice caps in tuxedo looking grand. We are reckless, brave, and loyal, and valiant to the end. If you come and hear a stranger, you will exit as a friend. Aww. And their club motto is: some days you eat the bear, some days the bear eats you, but always dress for the hunt. So they got like traditions. I was trying to find all of their names.
Okay, I have the names here. So there's Harrison Hightower the Third. So Harrison Hightower the Third is basically is at Hong Kong as well. So we have Tower of Terror, and if you notice, Tower of Terror has the HT. So the HT is for Hightower. So the Hightower hotels were built. And so I don't think the Disney here, because the Disneyland here is Tower of Terror, and it was originally based on the what is the TV show?
The Twilight Zone, yes.
The Twilight Zone. So the one in Hong Kong, I believe, is tied into Hightower, but I think the initials are still in all the attractions. So you see, I think it's HT something, and then they said. I think one of the haunted mansions, is it the Haunted Mansion in France, is tied to one of the high towers as well.
That's right.
And so then there's Barnabas T. Bullion.
I think
what was his claim to fame?
He was the Big Thunder Mountain guy, I believe.
Oh, so his was the Gold Rush in California. So maybe that's the Haunted Mansion guy then, because I think he was tied to the Gold Rush, and that Haunted Mansion, their Haunted Mansion in Paris is based on that guy, I think.
We could definitely do a whole episode on this, because each one of these characters you see here, they each have a connection to an attraction, and they have specific backstories. All I know is that this is the Mystic, because he's got that monkey from
There's the monkey, yeah, Abu.
And this is, I don't know if that's, in canon, that is Abu.
That is not Abu. Is that Mary Oceaneer?
Yeah, Mary Oceaneer is the lamest name, but I guess she's like the character, which I never wanted to go on a cruise, but there's some really cool stuff on the Disney's cruise that's about the SEE, because she's kind of, I guess, the main character. That storyline goes to the cruise, and somebody took a picture on the cruise. They have this on display, and it's the Society of Explorers and Adventurers patch. It's friggin' cool.
Yeah, and we're big patch people here, as you can tell by the black and white Indiegogo campaign. We have 2 patches, and by the way, we just funded the one, so thank you guys. What was it at 51K?
Yes.
And so we just blew through the 51K, and now we're 54K. So thank you guys so much, and we'll get those patches to anybody who's backed black and white.
And our patch is just as cool as this, I think.
I think our patch is cooler.
You know what? It is. And you'll own it as soon as black and white arrives.
Oh, but I also have, I think it was the guy standing, if you go back to the portrait, the guy on the left side.
This guy?
Wait, maybe it's the guy in the big Indiana Jones fedora. That's probably the guy there.
He's probably the Jungle Cruise guy,
yeah,
right?
he's probably Albert Falls. So that's Dr. Albert Falls, and they actually reference him in the attraction in the Jungle Cruise. So it's the waterfall that they say, you know, Albert Falls, Schweitzer Falls, or whatever they call it. Yeah, so they've tied all these guys in to the different attractions throughout all the parks, and they're the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And I love that old pulpy kind of stuff. What was the one Disney movie, the Pixar one with the adventures out there?
Oh, Up.
And then they reveal, like, the best part about it is they didn't even telegraph this thing. Like, there's that Doc Savage character.
Yes.
That's the older guy with the dirigible. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is so darn cool. You know, because they tied it into those old radio serials and that, like, pulpy kind of novels and stuff like that, early comic book stuff. And I thought it was so neat, and how that comic book character or that pulp character, he was the actual person in this story, but inspired that kid.
It's
and then when
cool.
he grew up, he still had that kind of adventure spirit, and his wife did too. That was just such a great nod to stuff like this. You know, early late 1800s adventurers and stuff like that.
All that Age of Exploration stuff is really cool. I wish they would do more stuff with that, actually. But yeah, we could definitely dedicate a whole show to this. There's a lot, and they all tie into really cool rides. And it's interesting because if you go to the parks, you'll see, like Art said, the Hightower stuff. It's probably the most, I guess, easy to tie to different attractions, because it's like you can't miss it if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, because I think that Hightower, we'll do all the research for you guys, and we'll bring this back to you at some point. But I think one of the Hightowers had a son, or it's his grandson, his great-grandson, or something like that. So there's generations of Hightowers in this mythology as well. So yeah, we'll dig into this. We'll get into more of the story behind this and bring it to you guys. So we should start trying to slow this thing down. And it was a lot of fun, you guys. This stuff is so much fun for us to do and bring to you guys. So I hope you're having just as much fun as we are. And just the research alone is a hoot to do. So hoot to do.
So let us know how in the comments, because we do read the comments after the video is no longer live. We still go back and read the comments. Let us know how you feel about all this Star Wars Land news. Let us know if you're planning on going when it opens, or if you're going to wait. And let us know how you feel about the Adventurers Club, if this is something that maybe you were interested in. I feel like if I would have known about this as a kid, I would have been like super interested in the park, because they don't really broadcast this as like a main story in the park.
Well, that's
really.
what I wanted to say. This is all relatively new. So this wasn't always there. So I think somebody had an idea of how to tie, like, maybe the different parks that are all around the world, and tie them to some of these characters just as a fun aside to the park itself. So I think a lot of this is fairly recent, and we'll find that out and bring it to you guys the next Walt's Vault. And I just wanted, before I forget, I want to thank Fresh Bake for the video. And if you guys haven't checked out his channel, check it out. They have this thing called the Knothole Gang, and they do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They're also doing things on the Marvel Land and how that's developing over at California Adventure. That's a whole episode unto itself. And so we have that, and then we should also get into I'm sorry, thanking the super chat. So thank you guys for all the super chats. They are greatly appreciated, and you guys don't know how much you pulled us out of our depression, because it took us 2 tries to get this show to you guys today, and we were actually to the point of just let's just not do it, right?
Yes.
So we were so sad. So when we start listening and to you guys in the chat and we start hanging out, it just makes it all worth it. So thank you guys for pulling us out of this funk, and the super chats definitely helps with that.
Yes, thank you guys for watching. We like doing these lives so you guys can join the conversation. It's definitely worth the hassle most of the time. Let's see.
All of the time. You guys are always worth it.
So
kick Taylor.
No. We got a couple people asking if you're going to make Drawn and Quartered tonight. Topic is Shazam.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if I can get my camera and if I can get my work done. If I can get my work done on time, then I'll see if I can pop in.
So we got Black and White, of course, is the project that we're working on. An artist doing the artwork right now, literally slaving away pretty much every moment we're not live with you guys. And sometimes when we are live with you guys, we're working on Black and White. And the link to that is in the description, Black and White Remastered and Indiegogo. It's still in demand. You can still get a book. We are going to be in demand until we go to print. And newly added to that store is Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff Too, which is Art's first art book. It's a hardcover, large-size art book, and it's still available.
Can you bop into the camera for a minute?
Absolutely. We'll give you a... There we go. There it is.
Yeah, there's the book.
So that's Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff Too, the art book. And it's available... I think I'm trying to think of how many we've sold.
We're closing in on 80 books right now. So there's only 200 books. So we're almost halfway with all the books sold at this point. So they're selling really fast. We just sold out of one of the print tiers. So thank you guys. And the best thing about this book is obviously you can see it. It's done. It's finished. So did it just go out of focus?
I thought it did, but no.
Hopefully not. And so so we have this book for you guys, and it's done. So at the end of, it's a pay period. So once Indiegogo puts the money through, then these books will start shipping. So it's probably going to be in about 3 weeks to a month. These books will start shipping out to you guys, if not sooner. So yeah, so we have the Oodles book, and so yeah, look for that on our Indiegogo. So
they're still available. I'm trying to think of how all the tiers we have, because I believe there's 2 print package tiers left.
And they're almost halfway, I think. So I think we have half left.
Yeah, they're almost gone. And we have the head sketch tier, I think, is half gone too. Where you can get a head sketch in the book. It's a really cool book. It's beautiful. You can't really see on the camera, and I wish you could, but there's spot UV on this. It's a very nice coffee table collector's book, and we expect to sell out. So don't wait too long. They will be available. Link in the description if you're interested in getting that. And of course, since the book is already printed and ready to go, this is not going to take time away from us working on Black and White, and help keep the lights on in Hack Shack. So you get a cool art book. We keep the lights on. We keep working on Black and White.
Yes, and thank you guys. And I am going to be drawing live soon. I'm gonna pull together page, what is it, 38 for you guys live, and I believe it's gonna be the whole page. So this will be fun. So you get to see, instead of just seeing a patch, you'll get to see a full page coming together. So that'll be fun. Possibly Friday, definitely early next week. So I'll be bringing that together for you guys. So thanks for the chat. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks to Fresh Bake. And this was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so that you never miss one of our live streams.